He was very happy about it, and that Cheryl was the best person that he'd ever met. When he talked to Cheryl, he was, that's not what he said.
What did he say?
He said, that's never gonna work.
What do you think you learned about yourself going through your first marriage?
That's a good question. I was really surprised at the responsibility that comes with marriage. I don't know why that really took me by surprise. I thought it was going to be the same as being single and dating. Suddenly I don't know, it just gets kicked up a notch. Then you have a baby and you're like, oh, did you pack the baby's suitcase? Like, did I? Well, I don't know who I thought was going to do it. I did not think it was going to be me. It's just like, at every turn, it's like, oh, doctor's appointments, and I'm sure part of it also is just, being an adult, but I don't know, there's like, you're suddenly responsible for other people. And maybe because I was single for so long, I never felt like that. I didn't get married till I was 38, I think. So I don't know why that really surprised me.
So Banff, Canada, Waterkeeper Alliance fundraiser. If you don't mind, Bobby, set the scene and how the introduction actually happened.
I was good, close friends with Larry David, and I had my family had lived with him and his family for 2 summers, and then we would go on vacations together. Every year I did a pro celebrity ski event in Banff. And Larry brought Cheryl to one of those, and that was the first time we met. And at the time, the both of us were married. And so there wasn't any sort of instantaneous chemistry, but we had a good time with each other.
Like the first time I met Bobby at that event, Larry and I had talked, we said, we're not gonna ski. Like, we're just gonna be here for, I don't even know if it was 24 hours, but it was a very fast trip.
And that didn't work out too well.
No, we get there, and the next thing you know, Bobby's got us in skis, and he looked at me and goes, you don't even have a knit cap on. I said, I know, I didn't think we were skiing. And then he gave me his hat. And I said, now you're gonna be cold. And he's like, I'm not worried about it.
And 6 years later, she came back to the same event. And at that point, we were both in the middle of a divorce. And the scales fell off my eyes. And I knew that, Larry has all these kind of rules that everybody is supposed to know, and I knew that it would violate one of those rules if I dated his television wife without permission. And so I went up to the Lowe's Hotel in New York. I met him late at night. It was maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, and I met him in his suite, and I said to him that I was thinking of dating Cheryl. And I was very relieved at his reaction, and he said he was very happy about it, and that Cheryl was the best person that he'd ever met. He said that she was beloved in the industry, and that she was the only one in Hollywood who didn't have a single enemy. When he talked to Cheryl, he was, that's not what he said.
What did he say?
He said, that's never gonna work. That'll never work.
And serious or joking?
No, I think he was giving her good advice.
Just like, it's not it's not gonna work.
Okay, why?
What name could you say where he'd be like, that's great, I'm happy for you?
Yeah, I don't think you would.
I don't know who, yeah.
So I was talking to your close friend Rachel, and she said you guys were, her words, smitten with each other from day one, still smitten with each other today, but that she also commended you guys for always working on the relationship and prioritizing working on it. How so?
I mean, I think that's true.
Yeah.
I feel so grateful for it, to feel that way about another person, and we're as opposite as two people can get. I mean, we share the same values, but in terms of our approach to life, and our everything, what we did growing up, our childhoods, were just we're utterly different. It's
challenging sometimes because we're both in the public eye, in a sense, So I think that chatter gets very loud sometimes, people coming at you and saying this and that. So it's been our experience that we have to take a step back, not look at social media, don't watch the news, let's just talk about being husband and wife and boyfriend and girlfriend and having fun.
What made you realize Bobby was the one?
He's extraordinary in every possible way. He is such a joyful person, even though I didn't expect him to be like that. And especially after all the loss that he's experienced in his life, I was just in awe that he still can find happiness and recognize it. He's very unpredictable. I don't know, he's everything.
You mentioned loss. What do you think going through that taught you guys about the strength of your relationship?
Oh, man. I think, for me and Bobby, we started in a tough place, really, because because of the loss of Bobby's wife. So it felt like, well, if we can be there for each other in really hard times, then the easier times should be really great. So, and just to know that you have those bonds and those connections that, once again, you look around sometimes in your life and what you're going through, and you look at the other person, it's like, oh, you and I are the only ones that know how this feels. And we're gonna carry that with us.
When we got married, my kids had been through the death of their mom. And they were young, and they were all at an age where they would be at risk. And she brought this special love into their lives and a very good judgment, a wisdom that she has.
How did he propose?
Oh my God.
I understand it was the limited knowledge I have of it is it was a makeshift ring, right?
We were in Florida. I was visiting my family, and I had my daughter and my niece and nephew, 2 nephews, and we were out at a river. And Jackson, my nephew, Bobby had said something about how much he was in love with me. And Jackson, who was probably, I don't know how old he was at the time, maybe 8 or 9, and he said, oh, well, if you love her so much, why don't you marry her? And he's like, okay. And then Bobby gets down on one knee and grabs a piece of moss, puts it around me, and he said, Cheryl, will you marry me? And I was like, what is happening? And they're like, do it, say yes. And I was like, Bobby, what are you doing? And I said, yes, I would love to. And
had you guys talked about it already at that point? Okay.
No.
Really?
No. I mean, Bobby had, I don't know if he remembers this, because, Bobby talks about the time that he talked to Larry about dating me. There was one time, I think it was after that, he called me to tell me about that. And he said, if everything is true that Larry just said about you, I think I'm gonna have to marry you. I was like, all right, let's settle down. I'm like, let's just take it one day at a time.